He'll go destroy her whole house. Okay, we're live. Hi, everyone. My name is Georgette True, and I am Attorney Davis's assistant, and I the host for Fight CPS with Ms. G, and I have Miss Stacy with me today. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Miss G.
Hi, baby. So Stacy's doing the show from the car because she couldn't find her charger at home.
Miss G, you
That's
didn't
how
have to
sad
tell
this is.
everybody.
I had to tell everybody, Stacy. It's like 1:40 something, 1:45. It's like, hey kids, do you know where mommy's charger is? And she's like, all I hear is the door open, and she's like doing it from the car. Oh my God. I love her. I do. I do. I do. Stacy, I'm gonna have to get you one for Christmas. Charger. And leave it like near the door and tell the girls nobody can touch it.
It's
Okay?
Miss G's.
Miss G. That's right.
It's GT's.
GT. That's a Davis GT. GT. All right. So today, I know you want to talk about the court watchers. You were in today. You were
Yeah,
at.
we went court watching today, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
Okay, well, so Miss G, as you know, I did a lot of work to get the courts open in New York State so that people could come in and court watch pursuant to our First Amendment right of court access to the courts. And despite what judges like to make people think, the First Amendment right applies to all courts. And that was part of how we got people access to the courts to court watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so after getting the courts open, they recognize us as court watchers, they recognize our right. And
Mm-hmm.
now they try to do all these squirrely things to come up with ways to make it so we can't come in and watch. So today we went with a gentleman who had a hearing for child support, and he asked us to come.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it was just a child support case. It wasn't like
well, he has a bunch of other issues, but today's hearing was child support.
Okay.
So the when we got there, when we signed in for court watching, they said, "Oh no, court watchers won't be allowed in today because it's going to be in front of the law clerk." Has Davis ever had that where you go to court and it's not the judge, but they've conferred their duties to the law clerk? You're on mute, maybe, Miss G.
Sorry about that. Here, a law clerk means like a clerk, like just a
Yeah,
clerk, like a cashier, not
yeah,
not a judge.
right.
So no.
Yeah, so they do this in New York State, and they confuse people, trick people to believe that they have to appear in front of the law clerk.
Mm-hmm.
But case law in New York State is that you do not have to appear in front of the law clerk, and the only way a law clerk can preside on a case is if both parties consent. But even still, if you're appearing in front of a law clerk, there's going to be no stenographer, there's no record of anything that was spoken in the courtroom, and law clerks cannot make any orders. So they also can't even order us out of the courtroom because they can't make orders as a judge. So this gentleman that was appearing, he said that he told his attorney he does not consent to the law clerk hearing his case,
Mm-hmm.
and he only wants it to be before a judge where there's everything on record. And it went very smooth. His attorney went into the room with the law clerk and the other side and said that he doesn't consent, and they came back out and they adjourned everything, and now it'll be in front of the judge. But they do this every time we find because they're trying to make excuses so that court watchers can't go in the courtroom. Now that they recognize our right, they're trying the squirrely things to keep us out. So when he goes back November 30th, we'll be able to go in the courtroom with him.
I had somebody that called me today, and I called 3 attorneys because Attorney Davis was doing a deposition, and he was unavailable. And I called 3 attorneys, 2 in California and 1 out of state. So this lady, what happened to her? She's in Butte County, and what happened to her is that she has 3 children. 2 kids remained with her, and 1 child removed from her at age 3 or 2. Now, The same lady, the same social worker that removed her child is the same social worker that adopted her child.
Yes, we have that. That's one of the cases where we got the media in to court watch
Uh-huh.
on the New York Times, and so we have the same thing happening in New York State, and the family that that's happening to. I also found another case in New York State where that happened another time. So this happens a lot.
No, really? I've never
Yes.
heard of this before. This is the
Yeah,
first time I've heard of it.
and yeah, they kidnap for their own families.
No, this is no. This is the worker that
Yes, taking the baby for his or her own family.
and leaving the other kids with the mother. Supposedly
Yes.
she's unfit, and why you keep the other kids. But anyways, I told the attorneys, three attorneys, and they said they've never heard of anything like this, and it sounds fishy. But the problem she did, because me and her spoke in 2021 or 2020. So with the case, I think when we spoke, the case was still fresh. I told her she needs an attorney because it would be cheaper to get an attorney when it's the beginning before the case is open than if you wait until the case is already complicated. She waited, and waited. And then today she called me and she said that um, that social worker adopted the child.
Yeah, Miss G.
But
If
that
you
was
don't,
there's a statute. There's a statute though. She passed the statute by 2 months.
yeah, but this is fraud. How can it
It
not be
is
fraud if there's no
fraud.
statute of limitations on fraud?
No, I agree with you, Stacey. It is fraud. That's what the attorney said. Three attorneys said that's fraud. That doesn't make sense. If something is fishy in all this.
Well, not only that, but you'd have to say it's conflict of interest. If you're taking the child to bring the child to your own home, how are you to make the decision?
But that just don't see that it's a conflict of interest.
Well, yeah, they always do the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil because they're aiding and abetting in it. But then
Yeah.
that's fraud in the court too.
But these judges, like I said, they don't care. Like I said, they don't care. That's why you need an attorney from the beginning of the case. Had the attorney been hired from the early on, that attorney would have stopped. They would have sued, like literally would have. Oh my God, it would have been a great lawsuit.
Well, Miss G, I've been finding that you can use a writ of habeas corpus, which is usually for people in jail. But a writ of habeas corpus, it really has to do with state decisions and state custody. It's 2254, I think it is.
Uh-huh. It's 2254. You're right.
And I would think then if you exhausted all state court remedy on something like that, I would take it to the federal court because the state courts, they benefit from all this Title IV funding again. And they're wanting to make these decisions that benefit the social workers and CPS. And there's all this kind of conflict there. So I'd go federal on that then, I think.
See, the problem with this is that, like the other attorneys told me, when you wait that long towards the end of your case, it becomes complicated and more costly. People
It's
think a
true.
civil lawsuit is going to be contingency. It's not, because it depends on the suit. If you're like 5 blocks away from the office, okay, yeah, Davis will consider it, depending on how complicated the case is. But it takes sometimes 12 months. You waited almost 3 years, and you want the attorney to do a miracle within days.
Well, it's
And you,
always the case, Miss G. And
I
people
know.
need to understand that sometimes um, putting money up front and doing something to I always say prevention is always less costly than the remedy. So when you
Mhm.
when you're like you said, when you told her to get an attorney so long ago and then she did it and then she let the situation unfold even more,
Mhm.
um, it gets more expensive actually to undo later down the road than if you nip things in the bud sooner. And it's so much easier to flip a case from the beginning. It's so much harder after time has set a precedence.
It
It's
is.
terrible.
It's a lot harder, but the thing is, and I have another person I want to talk about as well, but he's a great dad. I love him to death. But the thing about him is that he keeps getting too anxious. He does things on the whim. Like everything that happens is like it's a crisis. What people don't understand when you're dealing with CPS case, everything is going to be a crisis. That's what they want. They want it to be a crisis. So please just chill. I know it's your children. I get it. We've all been there. But you can't show them any excitement. You can't be.
It's true. It's hard though. It's hard because
Hard. I know.
I've done things and represented myself in some things, and I've had attorneys for some things. And when you're representing yourself, it is easy to get caught up in the trauma and the emotions, and then forget to remind yourself to stay cool and stay calm. But that is exactly, they love to incite that to trip you up.
They do. They do. And people don't get it. You guys don't understand that they want to trap you like this. They want you to react. But I speak like I told that one guy, I said, I speak to you like a sister, like an older sister. Okay. Take advice from people who's been there, who already did what you guys are doing, and it didn't work for them. And the thing about it is, when you exhaust your retainer by just reporting everything to your attorney, you guys are reporting things we already know. We already know what happens. We know what the social workers are doing. We know all the text messages. We know all this. We know all the CFT meetings they want you to go to. We know all of that. But when we tell you guys, don't do anything with that. Don't do any CFT meeting, hold any CFT meeting with a social worker without your attorney. Do so. All I ask is for you guys to give them Attorney Davis's phone number, information, or give them my email address and tell them, Miss G is his assistant and she will coordinate the time and date that will work with them, their attorney, and Attorney Davis.
Miss G,
How hard is that to do? Why do you have to go into details with the worker, make it extremely complicated and worse, instead of just doing what the assistant of your attorney is telling you to do?
why, Miss G? I'll tell you why. And it's nothing wrong with Mr. Davis or you. It's that I know you find it hard to believe when I tell you this, but if people went to attorneys before Davis, they all sold them up the river, took their money, and worked for the other side. And so then it's hard for people to trust, and it's nothing to do with you or Mr. Davis. It's hard for people to trust after so many attorneys have sold them up a river, worked for the other side, and taken their money. But I know the expertise of Mr. Davis and other attorneys that you and I have talked about. And there's a huge difference between an attorney like Davis, who makes this his expertise, and this is all he does, and
Mhm,
he's a very well known and respected attorney in the arena, that um, he doesn't need to sell people up the river to take their money because he's established himself. These other attorneys that do this are more bottom feeder attorneys, attorneys that don't always exclusively work in this arena,
mhm,
and they're kind of patsies for the other side because the other side is so big
mhm.
and
No,
has
I
so much
get that.
influence.
I get that, but we have people also that didn't want to hire us because and that really bothers me because what people don't understand, I wouldn't work like
You or I
80
wouldn't be on
an
here,
18-year-old
right?
making as much as I make right now. Believe me, if my heart wasn't in it, my heart is in it because he is a great attorney.
Right.
He is. He is.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a reflection on you or Davis. It's what people
No,
have
no,
done to
no, no.
them
This is a
before.
reflection. Let me explain why. Because you don't work with us. You don't understand what I hear. Okay. So what happens is I get people calling me before they hire an attorney. And then they say, well, Miss G, I heard a lot, we read a lot of bad reviews about Davis. Blah, 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 blah. Or blah, 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 blah. People tell us not to hire him. Blah, 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 blah. Then they go hire another attorney. Then they call me and say, Miss G, I wish I would have hired Mr. Davis. Then you treat us like the other attorney treated you when you came to us to begin with. So either you trust your attorney or don't waste your money because, or, just stay there and leave your child with CPS custody. That's the only thing I can think of because I wouldn't work in an office where I wouldn't trust the attorney I work for because I've been there. I've been sucked in. I've been with the wrong people and attorneys and it got me nowhere.
I agree.
I swear. I mean, I'm being honest. I don't know how to not be honest with anyone because the truth will set you free. Period. Anyone that writes a bad review about Davis, they're the ones who caused the chaos. Let me explain why. We tell people don't communicate with the social worker, don't communicate with the foster parents. What do?
They do it anyway.
They communicate with the foster parents. They write crazy crap to them, right? And of course, that's going to come at the end, towards the end of your case, when there's a closing time that Attorney Davis prepared for
I
to
didn't know
win.
happened.
All of a sudden, the social worker goes in and says, "Well, Your Honor, the foster parent received this text message from Mr. So-and-so." The judge tells David, I was there, dude. I was there. Okay. The judge tells Davis, "Well, Attorney Davis, are you aware that your client did this?" Then Attorney Davis looks at the client, looks at me, and he's like, "No,
Nope.
Your Honor, I didn't know." Like afterwards, he asked me, "Did you know about this?" I said, "No, I had no idea." So a lot of people think that, hey, I'm gonna text Attorney Davis and CC Miss G on it and tell them everything. But then again, you send 18 text messages. By the time we get to it, we don't know what the hell is happening because what you don't understand, the agreement that you sign with any attorney, not just Attorney Davis, any attorney, it states anything pertaining to your case, he will be charging for it. Meaning he can read your emails, he will deduct from your retainer. If you send him a text message, he will deduct from your retainer. If you call him, he will deduct from your retainer. So what do? I tell people, please do not just text the most outrageous because the attorney already knows what happens. If he tells you to stay put, stay put. Like literally, he tells me to tell people, stand still, be still, don't do anything, be still. But I need to do this CFT meeting. Why am I not doing this CFT? Like, it's like, then why are you here? If you can't take the advice of a qualified attorney, then I don't know what to say.
Davis is among the experts of the experts. So
It's crazy.
if you're not able to proceed with Davis, then you're really not going to be able to proceed with anybody.
Yeah, this is another client. Like every time we tell a client, please do not talk to the foster parents. They do. This lady and her husband, I kid you not, kid you not, kid you not. This is the 10th times now I have to deal with this. They literally trashed the foster parents, threatened to kill them, and not kill them, sorry, threatened to beat them, and go to their home and will take all 3 kids from them.
That'll basically sink your case.
Yeah. Well, it got worse than that. I mean, of course, now the foster parents added more to the story because now they can.
Sure.
Think about it. Now they can. Now they say things like, "Well, yeah, that's not the first time, the social workers, even though it's the first time, but the social workers would add more stuff to it too." Now, when foster parents do this on purpose, they are setting you up to feel with the social workers. That's what you guys don't understand. If a foster parent wants to adopt your baby, they're setting you guys up.
And it's a license to embellish when you do something like that. Yeah.
But they're setting you up when they don't want you to see your children. See, basically, when they say, "I don't want you to see the kids," or they're not taking your calls, they're setting you up because they want to get a reaction out of you. And that reaction is enough to kill you, to kill your case, I mean. It's complicated. You guys do not understand unless after you go through it, then you look back at yourself and say, "Oh man, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that." There's things that I look at now in my life and I think about my past and I'm like, why did I say that to the worker? Why did I do that? No, I could have done it this way. But you see, when you have emotions build up, it's going to blind you from reality and what you need to do. When you don't sleep, it's hindering your whole case, you're hindering your life. Other than getting dark circles under your eye, it's hindering you. Like I
So,
just discovered I have sleep apnea.
oh no.
Yeah. And that's why I don't sleep. I hardly sleep. I can sleep maybe an hour or two. And I went to the doctor and I told him, I said, I have a lot of dark circles under my eye. I said, I need to get rid of this. He said, you don't sleep. So now he's going to monitor me from my home um, with I don't know, some stuff. I don't know what he's going to give me. But I guess you know already, Stacy. But stuff like that, it's like, causes you sleep apnea, causes you diabetes, high blood pressure. And then you start building up because you your whole life is your kids, and I get it. Our whole life is our children. They become our life. They become the boss in our world. We stop everything for them, and I get that. But in order for you to get them back, you have to be patient. You have to, especially when you're dealing with demons. You have to be
But
patient.
it's not even patience, it's following strategy. And you
That's
can't get
true.
impulsive and do, a text like that to foster parents. That will sink your case in how many sentences and in a minute. And that negates the hours and hours and hours of money that you've spent for Vincent Davis. Just I can't imagine doing a text like that to a foster parent
Yeah,
and then paying all this money to get your kids.
yeah. Look who's underdog. This couple is one of our clients, and they're amazing. They listen to us. Actually, they actually do listen. You know, but again, you have to be patient with the strategy. There you go. You have to be patient with the strategy, the outcome of your case, because otherwise, you guys are gonna bury yourselves and then blame it to an attorney Davis, and then write a review that attorney Davis did this and that. No, he didn't do it. I witnessed everything. I literally witnessed everything with Davis. He can be the hardest boss to work for, like any other attorney. No attorney is perfect out there. They're complex when it comes to working with them. Why? Because they're on high demand and cases left and right. Things has to be filed on time. Things have to be done on time. So basically, the only attorney that I found, as God is my witness, that got me my kids back within 3 court hearings is Attorney Davis. And all I can tell you is he's amazing and God bless him. And I pray for him every single day. Even when I can't stand him one
Mm.
day, I still pray for that man. Believe me. And Stacy knows what I'm talking about. I still pray for him because this man is very rare to find. If you guys experience what I see when I take him to court hearings, and I listen to him, when he walks his spirit in court, people respect him. When he enters the courtroom, people respect him. Okay? They know exactly he's there and they know exactly what they have to be prepared for. Okay? So just know that when your attorney tells you to shut the F up and let him speak for you, you do that. Because the only thing your attorney is going to say, the judge is going to say, be quiet, Attorney Davis, control your client. And then if the judge have to say this over and over again, the judge can easily say you can be arrested because you're speaking over the judge. And your attorney is standing next to you like a duck. Okay? That's when I give you guys advice, take it. Don't see it as, see it as constructive criticism. If you can't handle constructive criticism, then you must be a narcissist. Something is wrong with you. Because we all need healthy criticism to help us in life. Because you have to learn from your mistakes. If you don't learn from your mistakes, then something is definitely wrong with you. And you need to look at yourself and you need to acknowledge what you're doing wrong. You cannot win. You cannot get your children when you can't focus on fixing yourself. If you can't fix yourself, there's no way in hell you can get your kids back. Unless I mean, I'm giving you advice that I would give anyone that I love and cherish in my life. I mean, I don't know. You could add to this, Stacy. You can say what's on your mind. You know.
No, I agree with everything you're saying. That's kind of why I'm quiet. But again, you know, you're putting your face to the show. I'm putting my face to the show, and it is out of respect. Um, and I can tell you, there's no attorney locally I would do this for where I live. Unfortunately, I spent a lot of money on attorneys near where I live. Um, and none of them have the expertise of Mr. Davis, and
Mm.
all of them took my money and worked for the other side.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, I'm used to attorneys saying, "Oh no, we can't admit that into evidence. No, we can't put that forward. Oh, that expert witness report, we can't use that." Well, you know, in hindsight, now that I know things that I know, that was all fraudulent concealment because they were working for the other side and they were trying to keep things from the record to help the court maintain a false narrative and help the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So those things happened to me, but I wouldn't be putting my face to the show if I felt that Davis was doing that to people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where people need to know the difference, how to conduct themselves, because what may have happened before Davis is not Davis's fault, and he shouldn't be treated like he's operating like these other attorneys do.
I hate that. That really bothers me. And a lot of people say, you really stick up for him. Yeah, I stick up for him because I see how he works. I see how he works hard for you guys. Davis is not. Is see, Davis literally. I'm telling you guys about my sleep apnea. I don't know if he has sleep apnea. He sleeps good, but what he does is he wakes up. He sleeps early, then he wakes up like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So from 2:30 or 3 o'clock, he starts working on that case that he now is supposed to be focused on that day in court. Then he would like implement this fantastic strategy because Davis is the kind of guy that says to me, "I want to win." He's not the kind of guy like, "All right, GT." Like when I pick him up, GT's here, GT. We're gonna win today, GT. That's how his spirit is in the morning. And I'm looking at him like, mother F, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I haven't had my coffee, and you're all energetic with his, like, what do you call it? Protein drink. And I'm looking at him like, but that's how his energy is.
But Miss G, it is exciting when you can save a kid. When you know you're
I
saving your
know,
kid.
I'm not saying it's not, but I've never seen anyone like that. But then when he goes to court, you're missing the whole point, Stacy. You're just as bad as the rest. When I see him go to court, and then the judge tells him, or the social worker says, well, your strategy ain't going to work today because your client texted the worker this and this and that, you know? And then he walks out of the courtroom like, okay, what the heck? I just like built this whole thing. I'm going to win today. Excitement. And then you guys screw it up by writing stupid crap. When your attorney, John, tells you to be quiet because the attorney is not objecting to something, I don't know who the attorney is, but if that was Mr. Davis, he's setting the court up for a lawsuit. I don't know what your attorney or who your attorney is you're talking about, but I know what my attorney, the man I work for, does. When he doesn't do what you guys want him to do, it's because he knows what he needs to do to win. You guys want him to do things because you're thinking irrational, because your emotions are involved. Davis's emotion is not involved. Davis is not emotional. He knows how to shut that out. Davis becomes emotional when he wins. Davis is all about, I want to win. That's why I love this guy. He wants to win. He doesn't want to go to court and not win. So if you do shit behind his back and then you blame him for it, then that's, you have to deal with God on that one.
And what happened to your kids?
Yeah, and you have to deal with God. I seriously give up. I tried very hard. I tried so hard to talk to you guys like your family, and you guys don't listen to me. So I give up. I gave up. And now I get another client that says, well, are you still, helping me? I want to see you in the office with Attorney Davis. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be there for you on the whim because you want to. You know what I mean? I have other cases I have to work on. If you need to meet Mr. Davis, I don't need to be there. You know, there's things that I have to do for him. He's my boss. I do for him. When he is meeting clients, I have to take over stuff. Things he expects me to get done. So, but then
Yeah,
people get mad. People get mad. Then you're not working for me. You're not the only one we're handling.
for Mr. Alfer, it's hard to speak about what other attorneys do because, like I said, other attorneys,
Mhm.
like where I live, they all threw me under the bus. And really throwing me under the bus was throwing my kids under the bus.
Mhm.
And court appointed, they're forget it.
Yeah,
You
court
know,
appointed, they're useless. They're the
yeah.
most useless being on the face of the earth other than social workers and DAs. You guys don't understand that they are all in on it. The court appointed attorneys, think about it. I have this mother, as God is my witness, I wanted to literally go yank her from her hair and say, grow up. This is what happened. She calls me. The case is still early. She says to me, and she's only like down the street, like 20 minutes away from us. She goes, well, they assigned me a court appointed attorney, and he told me, don't worry, you're going to have your kids back within 2 months. Right? And I said to her, I said, are you sure about that? She said, yes. I said, then why are you calling us? She said, I just wanted to ask you a question. I said, what's your question? This was her question. I kid you not. You guys think that I should get two attorneys to help me or just stick with the court appointed attorneys? She wanted to hire an attorney, an extended attorney, to work with the court appointed attorney. Then she said, if I do hire you guys, can you guys get paid by the state? I heard you guys get paid by the state. No, we don't get paid by the state. If we got paid by the state, we will not be able to fight the state.
Conflict. Yep.
How are we
That's
going
why
to
they
fight
throw you under the bus.
state? Right. How are we going to fight somebody that feeds us? Right? Think about it for just let it just sink in. So when you guys call us, you're hiring a private attorney, meaning they get paid for their services. Attorney Davis gets paid for his services. I had a guy from Canada that sold his house and wanted to hire Davis. He's willing to pay $400,000 to get 5 kids back. That's pretty big that he went to a Davis out of all the other attorneys that could have flown to Canada. Think about it for a second. I work here, not in anywhere else where I could have made more because I believe in what he does. And you guys know he drives me crazy and I complain about it all the time. But he is the best attorney in the world, not just California. I kid you not. So take it like a big sister is talking to you. I'm not going to steer you wrong because I have got the answer to when I die. And I'm not playing games with you guys. I'm not misleading you guys because I also have my God who watches everything I do and say. So if I'm here and by the grace of God, Davis, I work for the biggest attorney in the world in my eyes, and he helped me get my daughters back. Think about it for a second. He told me, as God is my witness, and I still have his text messages, and I took a picture of it to remind me daily. get your ass to court. Leave your effing ego at home and come to court. Did you hear what he said? Leave your ego at home and get your ass to court. That's one thing he said. I have one request for you. He knows that when somebody lies, I will be like, defensive. I would be like, hey, that's a lie, or, that's not true. And, my full facial will give me away. He knows that about me. He doesn't want me to have any facial expression whatsoever. I did exactly what he said. I swear I did exactly what he said, as God is my witness. I was so angry inside because he said to leave my ego at home.
Miss G, we had a case like that as court watchers. We were helping a learning disabled couple with their children. And it's a sad story because they had 4 children, and the first child was taken when the child was only 2 months, and it was on the premise that the parents had learning disabilities and a messy house. So as court watchers, we went in and we cleaned their whole house. We replaced 2 toilets, a bathroom sink for them, and had their house sparkling clean. And we said, the only thing that we ask for you, because we did this, is that you contract with us that you're going to keep your house clean. And if you can't keep it clean, then the money that you go out to eat with every single night, you're going to use to hire and bring in a cleaning person, or we'll get your services covered that it comes in. That's all we asked of them when we cleaned their house. And then they had a falling out with us that it's their right to have a messy house. And we're being judgmental because it's their right if they want to have a messy house. And that's not, and like what you were saying, leave your ego at home and come to court. That's what it's about. This is about strategy to get your kids. It might be your right to have a messy house, but that there's no place for that in strategy to get back to your kids. And so unfortunately, they took this mindset that it's all about their rights, their rights, their rights. They forgot about their kids' rights. And unfortunately, things didn't go well for them because their house was messy all over again. And, he wasn't getting his hair cut before showing up to court and dressing, appropriate. And all the things that we did, they stopped doing, and then they didn't get their kids. You have to leave your ego at home.
I'm going to show you guys what I do when somebody is lying and I'm listening to their lies. Okay. This is what I do. I saw that in a movie, by the way. You get a paper clip like this. Nobody sees it in your hand. Don't let anyone see it. You just put it in your hand. Okay. So every time you do it like this. So every time somebody's lying, you just keep pressing on it. You keep pressing on it. You keep pressing on it. Seriously, I'm not joking. I just kept pressing on this. Pressing. It distracts you from reacting because you're thinking about this, right? Think about it. See, it bounces. Right? That really helped me too. I saw that in a movie. It was a movie where attorneys were involved. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I saw this in a movie. And that's how he kept himself cool. Okay. It was, I can't remember the name, but it will come to me. And I did that. When Davis told me to do that, I did that. And believe me, I wanted to say something. But as God is my witness, I kept my face so I was like literally playing poker. They could not tell what I was thinking. They could not tell what was going on. And Attorney Davis was on fire. And that's basically what I can tell you guys, that if you just listen to him, stop reacting over every little thing that they do to you, and do not communicate with them. They know you have an attorney. They know that their attorney has to communicate with your attorney. Why do you think they don't want to do that? Because you set up yourself to feel behind your attorney's back. That's what you guys don't understand. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Stacy knows what I'm talking about. There's sometimes when Stacy's talking and she's in court and she has to have that poker face as well. She has to keep it there, and then hey, just speak facts. Speak facts. That's it. But she doesn't let them know that they're coming on to her, like they're getting to her psyche. She doesn't do that. But that's learned. She learned that. She wasn't like this before. She learned. She learned what works and what doesn't work.
And it's always a thing that can always be finessed even more and more, Miss G, because it's hard.
It is. It is. I know it's hard. God knows. Oof, God worked on me. God, I'm work I'm working. God laughs at me all the time, because he has a sense of humor. It's like I give advice, and then one day, just like after the show, even my cat will do something stupid, and I'm like, "You stupid!" Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, like kind of like you just out of the blue say it." And you're like, "Oh my God, I can't do this anymore." And then by the, like, how can I say it? The more you keep seeing your faults, right? Like when you acknowledge your faults, the more you work on yourself, the more you're gonna become perfect, actually, than you were, better than you were yesterday. So the day by day, look at yourself and say, okay, I need to change this. I need to work on this. I do this with me all the time. And sometimes I talk to God and just say, God, you really have a sense of humor. You made me. You have a sense of humor. Because sometimes I just look at things, I'm like, God, you're so patient. You're so patient. I'm not understanding how you can be that patient. Because to me, it's like, wake up. I want to do this. Wake up. Wake up. This is not how you do it. This is not how you do it. But God wants you to work on yourself so he can help you. But you have to acknowledge your faults so he can acknowledge you and your needs. God is not going to intervene in your life unless you work on your life, unless you work on yourself and acknowledge your shortcomings. We all have them. I have them. God knows I got them. Okay? But I'm working on myself. And sometimes life does that to you. Sometimes life takes you a turn, like everybody around you is like they're not the people you thought they were. And you become disappointed, and you don't want to give trust anymore, and you have a hard time. But God also wants you to learn. He wants you to learn. Learn not to be foolish. Learn to know who you're dealing with before you give them all your trust. Okay?
And not for anything, Miss G, but the lessons my experience taught me, and probably yours too, I embrace them. And I don't ever want to go back to the same person I was before life taught me all these lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and with trauma too came, reorganization of priorities. And when you talk about people that you're disappointed in, that you thought that you knew and then they were somebody else, well, when you're going through hard times, a lot of times you get really let down by people you thought that would be there for you.
Mm.
But then there's people that you never thought would be there for you that come in and join you. And you're stronger for knowing where you stand with all people. So in a way, that's a gift too. And
You are a gift to me.
but the lessons that we learned from all of this make us stronger, better people, not just to fight CPS, but in functioning in every aspect of life.
Yeah, it's true. And like John said, how can you have a good defense? Well, people want to go to court to be justified. Sometimes a good defense will be something like this, and I know you're going to hate it. I know you're going to hate it. It depends on the circumstance. Sometimes a good defense will be like your attorney telling the judge, look, Your Honor, he's pathetic. He doesn't have money. He can't pay child support like that. He's pathetic. Look at him. He's pitiful. You, on the other hand, might hear your attorney say that, and then you take offense to it and fight with your attorney in front of the judge. But if you keep your mouth shut, the judge will consider what the attorney is saying and then lessen your child support.
You definitely don't want to show up to court with your Louis Vuitton and your Hermes belt and your
No, it's not even.
Ferragamo shoes
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
appearing on child support.
I know, isn't that? And then we had a client like that, and she said, Georgette, but they're not real. I said, baby girl, it doesn't matter if they're not real or not. All they see is LV, and they know what LV. I didn't know what LV is until a client showed me what LV is. I'm like, I thought it stood for love. I swear, as God is my witness, I thought it stood for love because I don't follow the trends. I don't have the trends that you guys follow. The this and the Gucci and the this and the that. I'm a Ross TJ Maxx gal. Always been. Always been. Target. Target. Target, like my kids would say. But, stuff like that. But you guys need to understand, like, even if I have it, it's a gift. Right? But you guys make that your whole life, and then you go talk to the attorney and talk to the judge, and they see what you're wearing. They see it. But oftentimes when it comes to child support, the judge looks at the income expense, right? The income expense of two parties. Now, if your ex is like taking you to court for back owed child support that he cheated the system with and cheated you and waited 3 years to exercise the order, the judges look at his or her expense report compared to yours. Now, most judges will not change the back owed child support because that judge that made that order, placed that order was no longer there. So they really are reluctant to change it. So that attorney that helping this woman or this man with the child support lessened the child support for them. Instead of being 1,000 something, it was like $50 or $150 or $550 or I don't know, $650, whatever the case may be. They lessen the payment monthly. So, and all she said is that person is pathetic, Your Honor. If I was your attorney and I said that in court to you, John, in front of you, John, about you, John, how would you react? You probably would be like, do something or say something really bad or harsh. Probably anybody would react that way. But you know what she did? She told the client, be quiet, before she said what she said. Do not open your mouth. So her client didn't turn to her and say, object, object, he has money, object. No, she didn't do that because she was done. She was tired. She was tired.
Miss G, one thing here, I think John sort of answered his own question. If county counsel is paid from the same place that the court appointed defense attorney is, then how can there be a good defense? You answered your own question there,
Yeah.
John. That's the whole conflict Miss G is talking about, why appointed attorneys never work in this situation.
Nope.
They won't. They won't work for you.
They don't care. They don't care. They're just there to wear their Louis Vuitton bags, and you should watch. You should see what kind of cars they drive. They drive better. They live better than Davis. Yeah, that's why I don't like people talking crap about him. They live better than him, and he's the best. Think about it. When they die, they're not taking anything with them. Okay, they're not taking shit with them. John also said, Miss G, please do read my full question. What I'm not understanding. Stacy already said you answered your own question. That's the full question that I see, John.
Yeah, you can't have a good defense. You can't, because it'd be shooting their foot to help you when they get paid from the same place as the court.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's it. The court appoint. You need a good defense. Good defense would be depending on the case. I think what he wants is what would be the good defense depends on your case, John. Oftentimes, people pay Davis to review their case or pay Davis to coach them and consult them. Usually, it's not. If of course, it's not going to be a whole big retainer. He's not going to represent you guys in court, but he will coach you and consult you. He will be your attorney on the side, telling you what you need to do, what paperwork you need to file. But you have to do all the legwork. But he will guide you. Like oftentimes when we go to court, we don't know what to file. Which form do I file? Because you get misled by the court, clerk office telling you, oh yeah, you need to file this paper. Then when you file it, guess what happens? The judge denies it and says, nope,
Wrong one.
yeah, wrong one, wrong one. Gotta come
They love
back.
to,
Months
they love
later,
to do that game.
6 months, yeah. Especially if you have to go back to family court. That happened to me a million times. And who helped me was the court clerk.
I just had that happen with a federal appeal.
Yep.
And then the judge told me who I have to appeal to, and then that judge said he didn't have jurisdiction.
True.
And and it happens to people in jail too, because they have like the jail library there, and this person helps you fill out this form that you need for this, this filing and this application, and they'll give you wrong case law.
They do.
Probably give you artificial intelligence now too.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people on social media who also uses artificial intelligence to do your trial documents, paperwork. Your what do you call it? I'm sorry. Appeal work. They use artificial intelligence and tells you, oh yeah, this person is qualified and does this and that.
That worked too, didn't it?
They take your 400, 300,
they take their money. Yeah.
Yep. and they make themselves look intelligent. I mean, you guys have no idea what goes on out there, but they want to keep me quiet by talking smack because I reveal them. I reveal all of them. All of them. That's why they're not in my circle anymore. They're gone forever. John said, my point is that how can this be allowed? Okay, well, you're not asking the right question. I sound like David.
Can I answer this one, Miss G?
Yeah.
I'll tell you how it's allowed. Our government is supposed to be by the people and for the people. And for as long as people just roll over and acquiesce to this and don't call them out for their baloney, we're doing it to ourselves. So we need to start learning the law more. And when they do things that aren't legal or are conflict of interest, we need to start speaking up and defending ourselves. But like Miss G said, without the emotion, and do it right. But so many people, like one of the things I hear all the time is, I got a gag order. I lost my kids because I spoke about my situation on social media. That's First Amendment retaliation. But that happens to people so many times, and then they just roll over and they don't do anything about it. There's remedy for that when a court does something that's wrong. But for as long as people keep just rolling over to it and not speaking up and not learning the law, not defending themselves, it's going to happen more and more because it's kind of our fault too for just letting it happen.
Yep.
So you need to learn the law more too and use the remedies, the adequate remedies that there are. So you have an 18B attorney that's working for the other side. Well, I think you need to maybe find another job or something, or I don't know, but or learn the law yourself so that when the 18B attorney tries to pull something over your head that you can say, no, I know the law on this. Here's the case law. Let me show you how it's supposed to be. It's just what we did with court watching today. In the beginning of the court, they tried having this gentleman's appearance before a law clerk who's not even a judge. A law clerk cannot write orders. A law clerk, appearing before the law clerk, they wouldn't have a record of all statements made before the court in all fairness. And so it's a huge violation of due process.
But that's not his question.
No. But the gentleman knew the law and had case law, and he got out of the situation, and he's now before the judge. So my answer is, you got to learn the law, not depend on these practices that there's a fiduciary conflict of interest, and you need to seek counsel that's not conflict of interest.
Oh, okay. But right, but right now, I guess he's pressed in time. He can't just go and learn something. It takes a while to learn something like that. Um, John, I don't know if you have classes you need to do. I don't know much right now, but all I can tell you is that it's not about how you can allow something. That's not the right question. The right question is how can I move forward and get my child or children back? That's the right question. Um,
These processes are allowed though because we allow them as the people. It's supposed to be governed by the people for the people, but the more that we just roll over and sit down on our couch and watch TV and not participate in our government, not
okay,
court
see what
watch.
he said. See what he said. He said, "Oh, Miss G, my questions are the right one, hun." I know
Right.
you're being
You
sarcastic.
presented the case law, it didn't matter because you're
Yeah,
arguing it to the wrong people. The state is going to say, we looked at everything we did and everything we did is right. They know that it's a conflict of interest. They know where the money comes from, and that's why they're making the decisions they're making. But you keep involving yourself in those processes where none of those people are ever going to admit what they're doing is wrong. You have to go federal or something like that, or just, like Miss G said, just get yourself out of the whole situation because you're not going to beat that beast, and go find an attorney that works outside of that system so you can get your kids, because what you need to focus on right now is getting your kids and not feeding that part of the
and
system.
right, and then I will have to say to the relatives of the parents fighting, do not listen to CPS about your kids. Do not give ear to their lies and separation between you and the children, whether the child is your daughter-in-law or son-in-law. You need to stick together as family. Family is the glue that holds everyone together, including children. If you're going to side with social workers, they're going to come after you. It's kind of like you telling the devil, I trust you. You think the devil's not going to turn against you? Once he has you, he's going to turn against you. That's what you guys don't understand. Can't give trust to someone who's a demon.
When you
Demons
play
are
with
not loyal.
when you
They're
play with
not
fire, you get burned.
right. They're not loyal. Okay. So be one on one with your kids. Make sure that your family is together. Make sure that you don't just say shit to the social workers, such as on Thanksgiving last year, my son was drinking a lot. You honestly think, nobody does that on Thanksgiving dinner with family who's you crash on the living room floor? Everybody does that. Hopefully not the people with diabetes. I don't drink because, I can't do that. But again, who doesn't do that? Especially on Thanksgiving. You eat a lot, you drink with family, and you crash out on the floor until the second day. Just eating turkey alone is a drug. Turkey puts you to sleep like for 2 days. I kid you not. That's why I
It's the
don't eat
best sleep.
turkey. Yeah. I don't eat turkey. That's what puts me to sleep. Turkey. Turkey and beans. You give me those two, I'm gone. But then my stomach hurts afterwards. You know what I eat for Thanksgiving? Tofu turkey. Tofu. It's called
Tofurkey.
tofurkey from Trader Joe's. That's what I eat. So, John, if you want to talk to me, please call me. You already have my number because I know you watch the show. You have my number. You have my work number. Mr. Christmas said basically it is a violation of my Fourth Amendment HIPAA rights. Okay, let's read what he said up here. He said, can law enforcement cross report my medical records with CPS? My medical records were obtained and not used against me with criminal charges, but was shared with CPS to use against me. So basically, law enforcement, that's what he's saying, got his records and shared it with CPS. Yeah, they could do that.
Once they have them, they have them. They
Yeah.
can share them. Yep.
Yep. I know it's violation, but they don't care.
It might be a violation if the hospital gives something to someone wrongly, but this is not sharing from the hospital or your doctors. This is sharing once law enforcement has it, and they absolutely can share that.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. And I'm reading Mahaki. She's a grandmother. She said, "How can I fight? How can I how can I fight when I can't afford a counsel? My grandson is being tortured by racist teacher. Told him that white people shoot and killed black people. He is only 6 in the foster parent house. Huh. 15 students. He is the only black one. Um, she said, my grandson was taken from an alleged dad after I attempted to let him in his life. I am the one with custody. I've had my grandson from birth.
Well, I think the bigger issue is if your kids or siblings are separated.
See, that's the thing, too. I'm going to just speak on that topic real quick. First of all, just real quick, then we have to end the show. You guys don't understand that the kids are going to hear so many different things at school. Once you retaliate against the teacher and stand up against the teacher, that teacher can retaliate back by reporting you to CPS. Sometimes you get more with honey than vinegar. You just have to learn how to use vinegar when it's the right time and how to use honey when it's the right time.
You're right, Miss G.
So that's very important. You teach your children at home what is right. So that way, because when you die, when we all die and leave our children behind, they have to learn. So basically, they need to learn how to be among wolves and stay clean and stay whole. So that's what,
100%.
yeah. So that's what you need to teach your child. Instead of, I see a lot of people go to the teachers and say, they start waving their hands and, doing that Karen style crap, It's not necessary. Just say, hey, son or daughter, let me teach you something. Let me share something with you. Just say, you're going to hear a lot of different things in life. But just know this, love everyone equally and respect everyone equally. Sometimes people say the wrong things to us, but you don't give ear to them. And then you teach your child or grandchild about history. You teach them that. she said, no, no. He is in school, foster parents sending him to. Ah, okay. So he's in the school that foster parents sent him to. I hardly doubt, I don't know about Kentucky, but it sounds, I don't know. I'm not there, but it sounds weird that only one black kid is in the school. Um, I don't know. Usually schools are, right? They're combined with Latinos and Middle Easterns, Chinese, Japanese, African Americans, whites, like that. They're there. I taught him that. Okay, okay. Guys, just remember. Also, when your child is in the custody of somebody else, they're telling him what to say, especially kids at that age. Wanted to say that to you so they can get a reaction out of you, so you can go yell at the social workers. You guys don't understand. This is all tactics. When I listen, just listen. That's the last thing you need to worry about. That your child is being told this.
I think you're 100% right, Miss G. Miss
Yeah,
G, I got to kind of get going, but you're 100% right.
yeah, yeah. So just listen to what I'm saying. For God's sakes, you guys, listen to what I'm saying. Anyways, thank you, Stacy. I love you so much with all my
Love you
heart.
too, Miss
I
G.
love the fact that I went to the car of your house so you can do the show. I love you for that. That's dedication, dude. Dedication. I love you so much.
Love you too, Miss G.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I will be doing my root canal tomorrow, so I won't be doing the show. Actually, 2 days exactly, like 2 days back to back, because the doctor said that it will take 3 or 4 hours for one root canal. So the 15th and the 16th, I will be doing major surgery, I guess you want to call it, to get the infection from the bone too. So I will not be doing the show. Grace will be doing the rerun, but I will see you guys. Hmm, God willing, if I'm able to on Friday, I'm not sure. But if not, then I will see you guys, God willing, on the 20th of November. God bless. And if you guys have any questions, please call me or text me or call me or leave me a message at my work number, which is 626-631-8901.